It's a movement that seems to be growing by the day. New York City retirees gather in the shadow of City Hall and demand that the city deliver on its promises. I'm Mark Harrison. That story and more as Labor This Week begins now.
I will shut this city down. Shut it down. Shut it down. Shut it down.
And with that, they were off and running in the shadow of New York City Hall as Councilman Charles Barron of Brooklyn helped to whip up the crowd of New York City retirees prior to introducing legislation before the full council. We sent our own Holly Green to the city to cover the rally previously postponed by the Great American Smoke event a couple of weeks ago. And Holly, the inclement weather in New York didn't seem to put a damper on anyone's spirits, did it?
No, not in the least, Mark. In fact, many in the crowd couldn't wait to share their stories with us.
I'm a retired lieutenant from the NYPD. I retired in 2006. In 2013, I was diagnosed with leukemia from the World Trade Center. I would not be here speaking to you today if Aetna was the folks that were going to be taking care of me. Part of it is that it's a for-profit type of a company. And the other thing is they're looking, you have to be in network, does your doctor take this? Do you have pre-approval for certain things? I look at a lot of these folks that are here that retired way before I did. You got folks here that are in their 70s and 80s. Some of them will break your heart. And that's why these folks are out here. They're very, very concerned. And, we're hoping that our elected officials realize these are people that dedicated their lives to city service. These are also people that when it was time for a raise, part of the deal with you're going to get a lower percent because at the end there's a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. You're going to have some excellent health care coverage. And we're asking them, hey, remember to do that.
I'm here to protect the benefits that the city swore they provide for me for life. It hasn't happened. They're trying to take it away. They're reneging on all their contracts, and they're throwing in the gutter my sacrifice as a South Bronx firefighter.
Were you involved in 9/11 at all?
I was down on 9/11 for 4 months.
Are you suffering from any effects from the 9/11?
Absolutely. Lung disease, thyroid cancer, skin cancer. What else? I can't think. A few more.
And what do you say to your union and to your city government who's trying to take that away from you after you served your city government so well?
I'm disappointed in my union, the UFA. I think they should have done more to prevent this from even coming forward.
Several members of TWU Local 100 were on hand to lend their voices to the fight and express opposition for the inclusion of Medicare Advantage for retirees in their union's new contract.
The Transport Workers Union leadership, in fact, is trying to impose a version of this Medicare Advantage on the membership in the context of what I consider to be very much a sellout contract they're trying to push now. People should be voting on it within the next 3 weeks or so.
Right, and you guys are retired and you don't have a voice, right?
That's right, and in fact, the union leadership recently decreed that the Retirees Association was not an official union body.
At the rally, we had a chance to catch up with the driving force behind this movement, Marianne Pizzatola.
Well, today's a really great day. We have Councilman Barron, who's introducing legislation to protect retirees by requiring the city to provide a Medigap plan for Medicare-eligible retirees.
Don't tell me you don't have $439 million for you to put your life on the line for this city.
The group got a pleasant surprise when New York State Representative Ken Zabrowski told the crowd he was planning to introduce legislation of his own on a statewide basis.
So we're going to introduce a statewide bill that protects retirees' health care. Those things that they've bargained for that are vested shall not be diminished. Obviously, we have this issue right now in New York City. I'm going to work with my New York City colleagues, either of these bills to protect them. But really, this is an issue that retirees across New York State are worried about. It's something that resonated across New York State. So I have constituents that have worked in New York City that depend upon this, that have doctors they have seen, that are on treatments that they worry about, that may get taken away. They'll have to go back check for pre-authorization for, but I have other retirees from all different types of systems that have come to me and said, what if this happens to us? So we're going to do everything we can to protect this across the state of New York.
We had a surprise announcement today by Assemblyman, I think you spoke with, that he is going to be introducing legislation on the state level to also protect Medicare-eligible retirees from being auto-enrolled into these Medicare Advantage plans and protecting a retiree's health care benefits.
And Mark, this is no longer just a New York City or even a statewide movement. In fact, we asked both Marianne and Representative Zabrowski about moving the Medicare Advantage crisis to a national stage. And here's what they both said.
While I'm standing here, I saw a tweet from Jamal Bowman's office that they're also supporting what we're doing. And this is, like you and I had spoke before, because of a federal statute that allows the secretary of our country to have these sweeping powers to allow seamless transition into Medicare Advantage plans. This has to be changed on the national level. This has to be changed on the federal level. And then all of these municipalities, both state and local, would be protected.
Hopefully this could be something that we could protect on the national level. But I'll tell you, this wouldn't be the first bill that I've authored and passed that starts to spread to other states around the nation. So hopefully our folks down in Washington would pick it up and run with it.
And when we asked Marianne if she was ready to move things to a more national stage, here's what she had to say.
Wow. Yes. If they're listening, you gotta move on it, right? Like, it's a calling, I guess, I don't know. But as people are listening, if they are, last night I attended a meeting with Be a Hero, and the former CMS director, Don Berwick, was on, and he's jumping on board with this with Be a Hero, A.D. Barkin. So I think this is picking up, this is gaining steam, and I think we all need to, this can't be a one-person, one-group fight. This needs to be a national coalition of those who support protecting public health benefit of Medicare.
And Mark, we both know if anyone can spearhead an effort in Washington, D.C., it's Marianne Pizzatola and the group of dedicated volunteers she has behind her.
Indeed. Great first report, Holly. I'll be right back with some final thoughts on the Medicare crisis in America in just a moment.
What do we want? Medicare. When do we want it? Now. What do we want it? Medicare. When do we want it? Now.
There's an old adage in Washington, never touch Medicare or Social Security because retired people vote. I had a chance to travel with our team to New York to see the rally we reported on, and I can tell you, these folks are ready for a fight. Imagine for a moment that you come to a job because it promises you not so much the chance to gain wealth and prestige, but to serve your fellow citizens, to help you care for the city you call home. And in the end, in exchange for doing so, you would have a decent retirement. And that city, that place you grew up in, that place where you attended public school, that place that you dedicated your working life to, would see to it that you were taken care of at the end of your life. Imagine that you were part of that city when the most horrific event in the city's history occurred. Imagine that you were part of America's largest and most diverse and robust city when 9/11 occurred, and that you were part of the city's efforts to come together for the good of that city and to be part of the healing process that seems so far behind us now, only to have that city renege on its promises at the end of your life. Well, that's exactly what is happening in New York, and it must be said across all of America. We asked these folks if they were ready for a national stage, and they said that they are. City council members, state representatives, and most importantly, the dedicated volunteers who are driving this effort to force the city to do the right thing, to deliver on promises made long ago. And they're asking for their unions, where they paid dues over the span of an entire career, not to sell them out. Again, this is happening across the entirety of America, union or no union. Retirees vote. Do you want to scare the politicians in Washington into taking notice about this issue? Into getting to work on this issue? Well, get the buses ready. Here's a goal for everyone. One bus from every state, filled with volunteers carrying signs like the ones we saw in New York. You go, we'll be there to cover it. In the meantime, I'm Mark Harrison, and I'll see you next week on Labor This Week.